Hey everybody, welcome to Psychic Nerds number 6. I don't know what 6 means in numerology. I think 9 is completion. Anybody know what 6 means in numerology? No? I'll look it up.
Nope.
We have David, and we have Lost, and we, of course, have Wonderful Sam, and we have the Mr. Ghost Santino. We may have some people joining us over in the European areas of the globe. How is everybody doing? How's your week going? And yeah, anything you want to say here before we get started?
I was in the woods. Trying to find the lake frontage. I'm listing my property on Sunday. So I was down there with the real estate agent and we were tying little bows of string on the trees.
Oh,
so
for
people
property
could
line.
find their way. Yeah, I didn't develop the lake frontage because
Nice.
I'm not staying. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So I was like, someone else can do that. But she was telling me in August, she told me I could get one price for my house. And I was like, the people on the other side told me to wait until October. They said like around October 21st, list your place. And the place behind me went up for sale. And it's only, my place is like 2,600 square feet in the living area without the basement included. And the basement's finished. The place behind me is 1,800 square feet. And it doesn't have a finished basement. And they listed it for about, I think, 30,000 more.
Oh,
My place, what she wanted to list my place for.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until October. So sure enough, when I went there, the price now is about 40,000 more than in August. And I think I'm going to get some bidding wars. That's why I wanted to get a lot of pictures of the lake frontage and stuff, because all the other places in the same price range as mine, they don't have any water frontage.
I think it's going to be great. That's going to be a huge selling price that someone can develop that water frontage. I think you're going to make a boatload off that property.
Yeah, but thanks to the people on the other side, I mean, for telling me to wait, because I was waiting for the inventory to get cleared up. And of course you have, your loved ones beacon in your ear saying, there's property taxes you pay every month, the longer you hold it. And I'm thinking, okay, well, even if the property taxes are like 1,500 more, but if I make 50,000 or like, I was seeing like huge numbers.
Yeah.
And when this stuff happens, this gets me really excited. My real estate agent, she's been in the business for over 25 years. And she told me that in her entire career, she goes, I have never seen prices shoot up like 20% overnight. She goes, there's bidding wars and, places that are getting sold like in 3 days that used to take me 6 months to sell. And you guys remember me talking about that.
Yeah.
Like even a year ago, why I was not selling this place that I had, because I really felt like real estate. And of course, all the talking heads on YouTube were talking about the real estate meltdown.
Right.
I wonder if they took down those videos.
Oh, I'm sure. Don't you think so? I think so.
I don't know if they did or not, but I just laughed at it because I was like, they had so many people fearful.
Oh yeah.
But I was doing readings and telling people how well they were going to do selling their place and even telling them how much for. And, so I'm so excited about that. And that just brings me to cryptos as well, that, when I see all these other time markers, all these other things coming true that I talked about, and then it even looks like the political situation, how I predicted it, is going to go down the way I predicted it. So, I'm just really excited because, it's great news for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited too. Santino and I were just kind of riffing or talking before we started this recording and before everyone else kind of joined. And see, he was kind of mentioning how different it is this time as opposed to the Plus token explosion in July or June of 2019 when the markets got really pumped by the Plus token scam in China. There's a lot of liquidity flying in and a lot of money being dumped into Bitcoin. It was pushing the Bitcoin price up into that 13.6, 7, 8 range. And how everyone was saying that it was going to go to the moon. And we were on our way to $200,000 Bitcoin, and then it cooled off pretty quick. Santino, do you want to chime in and just kind of talk about say what we were kind of talking about just 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, I mean, we were just, I was just mentioning how for some of us that have been in this market for a long time, how it feels much different this time around for a lot of different reasons. And not the least of which is the fact that large institutional money is finally here. They're beginning to make crypto a part of the conversation in a way that I've never seen before.
Yeah.
And it seems like, the last few kind of like booms that we've had, it's certainly the 2017 boom. And then the echo boom that came a year and a half ago in July of 19, it was, they were really highly speculative, a lot of retail players, still not a lot of institutional money, highly illiquid and highly volatile, getting moved around. What we're seeing now is a much more mature market, not suggesting there won't be volatility, because there certainly will. But it's far more mature than it was then that I've seen. And a lot of it is because you're seeing people with real money now involved. And that's actually a good thing, because it's helping to stabilize it. And this is becoming more of a supply-driven rally than just purely retail speculating on crap coins that don't mean anything. There's use cases now. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm hearing for the first time on mainstream media like Bloomberg and CNBC, them using Bitcoin and even Ethereum in the same basket as inflation hedges like gold and silver and commodities. You never saw that before. I mean, you would have never seen that before. So it tells you that we're better anchored this time around. The other thing that makes me quite excited is the fact that the same retail players, inexperienced players that drove the last big rallies seem to be missing in action in this one. That's a good sign. Like you're not hearing a lot of, Bitcoin to $1 million, a month from now, this crap coin, $1,000 next month. Like, you're not hearing a lot of that. They're actually kind of yawning at what's happening. They're not really paying attention. Also a very, very good sign.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've never seen so many sourpusses in the last 24 hours, 36 hours. This time it seems like your average crypto holder is a little exhausted, and I don't think they understand what's happening. The current monetary policy situation in which we're in. When I hear them talk about Ethereum, first of all, and Bitcoin in the same breath as gold on CNBC, and it almost being used as a springboard. When I hear of PayPal getting into cryptos, when I hear of PayPal desperately, it looks like trying to buy several exchanges. So BitGo being one of them, maybe Coinbase will be the other. I don't know. I think we're in a new environment. People will laugh. People will point at me and say, "Oh, you're a moon boy," or well. Yep, I am. When I look at the yearly chart, year after year, I only see Bitcoin going up. I only see cryptos going up. We had one down year. So yeah, I'm a moon boy. It's only a matter of time. Anybody else's thoughts on this?
Lumber's up a lot, and that's a commodity. Santino was talking about last week, the commodities were going to go for a big boom. And I was already aware from the guy who was doing some minor repairs to my house before listing. He was telling me that he couldn't do any big jobs. He said, any of my customers who want to have like a deck built around a hot tub, he goes, I can't get enough lumber. Like, he actually could not get it. And then I wasn't surprised to read in the paper that one of the top lumber companies in Canada's a huge export country for its lumber. And, so it doesn't make any sense when we have a shortage of lumber here. My God, we have enough trees in Canada. But anyways, I saw that their profits were way up, and I feel that this is only going to go up. And that's why, like, I have some other properties, but I'm not going to sell them until next year, because I really do think that we're going to see a lot of inflation in a lot of hard assets. And I do believe that cryptocurrencies are going to reflect that inflation. So, your cash in the bank is going to stall. If you have bonds, you are in trouble. But if you have silver, gold, cryptocurrencies, or real estate in, I said there's a little bit of luck in location, right? Like, you don't want to own a commercial property in New York, Manhattan right now, but you definitely want like a house in the Hamptons, because people are just flocking there. So again, it depends on, if I had wanted to sell my beachfront property 90 minutes from the city here, I could have sold it easily.
Yeah. And, to the people that will never be rich enough to live in the Hamptons or
come where I live, it's cheap.
Or Manhattan, still these times where people are out of work, they're being furloughed, they're being, their hours are being cut, they're being forced into, lower rates of pay, or they're considered, abandoned employees. Income producing property is a pretty hot commodity right now. It's just a way for people to bring in some income. So
Also jobs in the materials section. And as some of the people on this Zoom will know, I started targeting cement companies, lumber companies, nickel companies months and months ago in anticipation of this boom, and they've skyrocketed. So that's creating a lot of jobs. There's a lot of people. I have family that are in the construction trades, and it's what turned me on to cement, a number of months ago, going, what the hell is going on right now? Like, this is completely divorced from what these morons are saying on television. And they have no idea what's actually going on the ground here. This is going to explode. Before it's all said and done, you are going to see limit up days in a number of these commodities. They're going to take their turns, and you're not going to be able to get them on certain days. That's how we're going into a super cycle, and crypto will be a part of that.
So explain what that means to people that don't know what limit up is, Santino.
It means there'll be nothing offered at any price.
So no matter what the price for tea in China, it will basically go no offer.
Correct. You'll have days where that's going to happen. You're going to see it in the precious metals first, but it'll spread to other areas of the commodities index. You've got a situation now where the dollar is weakening and interest rates are going up. That should not happen. That is telling you inflation is beginning to set in. That's the only way that could happen.
There's several people, and you and Santino and Sam, been on this commodities boom for a while, and that's really interesting. Sam, I'm kind of blown away too that so I'm seeing some things at the retail level here where I'm at, which is very strange to me. If you go to the local Home Depots here, they're out of a whole bunch of stuff, 4x4 posts, all sorts of building materials.
Yeah, that's what what the guy, my carpenter, was telling me. If you want it, like, he didn't mind, if I had a few rotten boards on the patio, so I wanted him to put some new stairs on it, etc. Just small projects where he can just use wood that he already had. Yeah. But if he said anything big, forget it. And
I've known people that have been trying to get fences. So fence sections for the last 4 months, they can't get them. They cannot get pre-built fences.
Right now, where we're starting to pull off, like, that's what we're working on. The huge project right now that my editor and my assistant are working on is the predictions videos. And we're probably going to need like 10 different subject matters, but there'll be some clips where I'm going to pull it off where I say quite a few times. Like 2 years ago, I was saying, because it'll be almost, it's like 2 years now since I started my channel. And I think it was maybe in the spring of 2019 that I first started saying, nothing's going to happen like before. Like, this is different this time because we've never had a worldwide meltdown of the fiat currencies like we're going to have coming up. Like, this is going to be the first time ever. And that's why, like Santino says, the talking heads on TV, they don't know what they're talking about at all. Yeah. Like, I listen to them too, and I'm like, oh, you have no idea. And I'm like, am I just full of myself? But I've been right on with the real estate. I've been calling interest rates in the right direction since 1991. And I don't, unlike other people who are just really, really smart, I'm just not that kind of genius. I mean, I think it's because I can see the future and I get information from the other side. And I'm telling you right now, we are headed for this like crazy shitstorm of the everything all at once. And we are all in such good positions for that. Thank God.
Yeah. And thank God for you, Sam. You brought a lot of us together. And the interesting thing about that is, no, of course you're not crazy. And yes, of course you can see the future, and you're not alone. There's some psychic nerds friends here that get glimpses and quick flashes of the future or knowings. So you're in good company. A lot of us don't see it the way you do in the detail and depth that you do, but a lot of us do get things from the future. So that's wonderful. It's nice, I think, when we all have kind of a mindset of where we think things are going, and we know that there's nothing we can do to stop them except watch them unfold like a blockbuster movie, and that they're so different from other talking heads or other people reporting to be a psychic or have gifts. I think is very telling as well. Lost, do you have some comments about the general crypto market, your general holder that is kind of like ho-hum about this 13,000 Bitcoin?
It's mostly at this point just from what I see from people on Zoom, although there is, some people at work that are finally taking a little bit of an interest.
Yeah.
That they're at that stage where they're out of work. What little work they're getting isn't paying the bills, and so
Yep.
they are looking into cryptos.
Yeah, they're chasing yield in any way they can find it, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys see the Twitter? I think I posted it. I'll look for it here again, but it showed the rise in stock price, and it compared some of the cryptocurrencies and some of the public companies like PayPal and others against your banking stocks. Did you guys see that and the difference in that? I thought that was quite telling.
I was looking forward to. I'm glad David's here today again, because I was going to ask for some feedback on what's going on in Western Europe, because even though I live in North America, I did get a lot of information about Europe for a few years now, and it seems like things are just starting to happen now. What are you seeing there on the ground, David?
Not very much right now.
Are people working, David?
People are working. Yeah, it's pretty much normal right here. I think things are worse in France. They're having a curfew now. I think from 9 p.m. until 6 a.m. in the morning.
And this is in France?
In France, yes. There's been some quite nasty stuff over there, like decapitation of a guy and things like that. But it's pretty much normal here. We go to work. We just have to wear a mask when we go inside a store or a gas station.
Yeah. With Germany, what I saw was that there would be upheaval against the government, but I felt like that the Germans, they're going to show the French how to do revolution right, So the Germans would handle it, but there would be some big changes there and upheaval, but it's more like an economic thing. And then in France, though, that's where I see like a lot of fires and riots and problems. Italy is going to be a different flavor again, where they'll have a strong leader that comes up and handles things, right? Whereas it'll be the people in Germany, just like I would compare the people in Germany to the people in Australia, right? Because it's, again, a different way of like how things are going to come about and how the people of that country are going to handle it. And it's like in France, it seems like everything's going to just fall apart, whereas the Germans are going to grab a hold of their government by the throat almost. It's like, man, don't mess with the Germans.
Yeah.
And then, in Italy, they're going to have a strong leader. See, Germany's not going to have a strong leader. So just like in Australia, the people are going to have to kind of, take stuff over. And I do see success in that, but it's still, it's like when you're charging towards that precipice, you're, even someone like me, I don't know exactly on the timeline as to how things are going to go down, but I'm at least happy to see that at the end of it all, like even for France, and it may be France that Russia has to come in and save, because I do see Russia coming in with their tanks and their guns and helping the people. Some of the countries in Europe are just not going to handle it very well at all. And, but I do see, like I said, a positive outcome at the end of it. But, I'm not property shopping anywhere in Europe right now, just with, seeing all of those pictures and, the situation. I mean, Europe seems to me to be in an economic basket case.
Yeah, and with the Germans, it's you can push us this far, but once the lid is off, it is off. It's like totally off. Once we get angry, we get really angry. We get pissed.
Yeah. Well,
sounds like I have a little bit of German in my blood.
Yeah.
my daughter has some German in her blood because her dad is German heritage. So that'll come in handy. It comes in handy in the world that we're sailing into now, it seems.
So I just looked up the number 6 in numerology. It looks like number 6 is the embodiment of the heart. Represents unconditional love and the ability to support, nurture, and heal. It's protective, romantic, and supportive. Interesting.
What does this mean for our show right now?
I don't know. I guess you need a hug.
I need to give a hug.
Or give one, yeah.
Yeah. My highlight of the week was the Ask a Medium show and the coming out of Spencer.
Oh,
and to add the psychic part of it, me getting there, because I wanted to watch it, forgot about it, watched a totally different interview, and suddenly it popped into my head, Ask a Medium is starting. So I clicked on my browser because I was on YouTube, And I got in exactly the second Sam started. Not 1 second too early, not too late. Exactly the second it started.
That's a nice psychic impression or a flash. Very timely, on time.
Yep.
That's cool.
Right. As soon as I'm doing the hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah. Hopefully next time you'll get that same impression when that bus is about to hit you. You know, you'd be like, oh, don't step out into the road.
I usually get warned.
I think that's going to be the coolest thing for everybody, no matter, what sort of, level that they're at. Because a lot of people say to me, oh, I'm not like you. And I'm like, well, actually, none of us are alike. I mean,
Right.
we're all different in our own way with our abilities, and also at what level you're at, and also what your vocation with that ability is. And it's just everybody's different. But, I appreciate people like Lot Shaker, who has abilities and is a newbie.
Yeah.
And as he's learning, he's sharing out as well. Lot Shaker, that example you gave about the car going by, that's like a perfect example. Can you tell everybody about that example that you gave about what it's like when you're sometimes trying to share with somebody a translation of a picture?
Yeah, so what came to me was that it's like a medium. It's walking on the highway of life. You have a car that zooms past you at 100 miles an hour. And in that split second, you have to figure out how many people are in the car, which one of them is a man or a woman. It's like, man can have long hair, so who knows there.
Right.
You have to know just all these little details from just a glimpse. And that glimpse can just be a feeling that you have to translate.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because within a few hours of writing that, I think I was going to work and it just crossed the street. A friend passed by in a car, yelled at me, and I thought they were coming from the sidewalk instead of a moving vehicle. And I just chuckled to myself after that. It's like, okay, total newbie on this.
That's so
Well,
good.
You said you said you have to see like how many people are in the car and whether or not they're drinking Coke or Pepsi. It's like, that's so perfect, because when you get into like such small details and people are like, how do you know that? And you're like, I don't know, man. It was there in front of me and I guessed it right, and I'm glad it fits.
And we kind of talked about this last show about knowing things there's no way you should be able to know, right? So how many people are in the car, maybe the age of two of the people, and if they are drinking Coke or Pepsi, there's no way for you to know that. There's no way. But people will get an impression for sure.
Well, like when I was doing a reading for somebody, he booked a reading because he had just had a premature grandbaby and he wanted to know if she was going to live or not. So like he told me her name, but that's all I had. And I said, was she born at 29 weeks? And he said, yes. And I said, oh, well, she's going to survive. And so, you could say as a medium, oh, she's going to survive. And they'll feel good that you said that, but they won't really know for sure until the doctor gives the thumbs up when the baby's about 40, 45 weeks, right?
Right.
Like you got to wait a while, and that's forever if you have a little baby in the hospital that you had to leave behind, like his daughter did.
Yeah.
And so I said to him, I said, tell your daughter that her baby is going to be okay, because they let me know how many weeks she was born at and all these other details. And also he had said before he did the reading, he asked his grandmother to come through and to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, and they just passed through me. I said, is your grandmother passed over? I said, I think it was your grandmother. So it was almost like as she passed through me, right? I thought about Lot Shaker's example about a car going by at 100 miles an hour. Like when she passed through me in that split second, I got the impression that it was his grandmother. And then that's what I told him as well, that it was the grandmother who told me about the 29-week-old baby, that the baby was going to survive and be okay and not have any lasting, because, they can have lasting effects on them, like their lungs might not develop properly and brain damage. And there's so many things with premature babies that can happen, especially only at 29 weeks. And, so I explained to him that when I knew the number of weeks the baby, and also about the grandmother, then that confirmed to him so that he would feel that what I was telling him was information from the other side, which also included that the baby would be okay.
Wow. That's incredible.
And to get back what Sam was saying, everybody is different on psychic matters. I think everybody is psychic in one way or the other. You just have to listen to your inner voice. I could have dismissed the I call it notification to go to ask a medium, or whenever you get any thoughts in your head about take left turn, take right turn. You just have to practice it.
Yeah.
And you will be wrong because you're just learning to walk. You fall down, and you have to trust your feelings.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of times where I've actually been able to practice that it's a combination of feeling and observing. And just like driving around, there have been a couple of times where I've almost intentionally ignored the feeling not to go down the road.
Oh, yeah.
And, what'll happen is that I'll have run into a semi that will basically have worked its way to where it's just completely blocking the street.
Yeah.
And so then I'll have to turn around and go the original route.
Oh, yeah. So it's funny. I don't know if others have experienced this, but so different family members and close friends have joked over the years that I have the weird ability to I have a parking super ability. So whenever I pull into a parking lot, I'll take some weird route around the parking lot. And of course, I find the closest spot, right? Or one of the closest spots to the building. Where if I'm with someone else, like they park a million miles away from the building. So people have always commented on this. Like, I don't know how you find the perfect spot. I don't know how you get so close to the building. It's like, I don't know either. Like, I turn where I feel like I'm supposed to turn and I wind up at the best spot. You guys
I'm a radar detector.
Oh, okay. Good. Ooh.
Slow down, the cops. And then
Slow down, the cops.
He slows down and the Mounties come over the horizon. I'm like, okay, all right, you can go now.
So great. I love that. You want to do a bank robbery?
We don't need to. We have cryptocurrencies.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, never mind. Scratch the heist.
Intuition will mix with decision making. Like it's sometimes hard to know where one begins and one ends, So a lot of, and especially as people are beginning to become more aware, they kind of like what Lost is explaining is just universe poking you, and it's just making you aware that it's reminding you that you're doing something that you've always known what to do. You're actually not learning to do something new. You're just remembering, because this used to be our natural state at one time, and we've just forgotten. That's all this is.
Yeah,
I love that idea that this ability that we have as humans, and I don't know if it's unique to us or not, but we probably had this before we had language, right? And we definitely had it before we had written language. So that's interesting that this was a way for us to have information, to act on information before we could probably even communicate it.
Well, we're all light beings. So, just to use as an example, I mean, someday I'll die and step out of my human shell. And let's say David, he's going to die and step out of his human shell. Well, when we step out, we're exactly the same. Like we can do exactly. So a lot of the abilities that I exhibit right now as a medium, like David will be able to do that. So he does have it. We all have it in our human state because we're all light beings. It's just that the dial is set differently for everybody. So, and that just like, I love how Santino explains things because he says it's hard to know where one ends and the other begins. And it's almost like you have to think of it like a color palette, right?
Color gradients.
And so everybody's got like their dial set. And that's actually one of the cards that you're dealt when you come here, I believe, not just whether you're born as a male or female, what culture you're born into, whether or not your parents have money, how your intellect, how smart you're going to be. That makes a big difference as well as to how you handle things, but also your level of intuition, psychic abilities versus, knowings and being a medium. Like, where's your dial set? Because I believe that everybody does have abilities for the most part at some level. And I do think that you can develop them. And I also think there's a lot of people who are mediums who just they don't know yet how to translate well enough in order to feel the confidence to communicate with their counterparts, the information they're giving. And I would say that the number one change with me is that I found a group of people where it was okay for me to make mistakes.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's,
yeah.